I'm going to start the recording. A lion and what? What's the scenario? Sometimes if you come up with a story first, like what are they doing, you might come up with a better concept idea. So this is going to be about developing your concepts. So what is the lion doing? And how is it relating to the human? Come on, Danta. You can unmute and talk if you want. The lion is eating the human? No, I don't want to do that. That's not something that I would draw. Tricks with its trainer. All right. So I'm going to come up with half a dozen. You got to think these things through, man. This is really important. I'm going to come up with half a dozen ideas of a lion with a lion trainer. All right. So the way that I would do it is start out with small little sketches just to kind of get in the idea. So what's the typical one? We have a guy. Now these are just for me. This is my idea, my brainstorming. I wouldn't turn this in, but it's one way of doing concept. Maybe I might look for pictures of lion tamers and their humans, but I can make up my own scenario. So here's a chair, and here's the lion sitting on the chair. Okay, idea number one. Let's say I'm going to do the lion. He's going to be sitting, and he's going to have his mouth open. He's roaring, or whatever. His mouth is open like this. And the dude is going to put the lion tamer he's sitting again. The lion tamer is going to put his head in the lion's mouth. So he's leaning over, putting his head, the body, into the lion's mouth. There we go. Okay, that's okay. That's kind of crap. Okay, I really don't like abusing animals in the circus. So here's the lion jumping through a ring of fire. Oh, now I'm coming up with some good ideas. I've got some good ideas now. Here's the lion jumping through the ring of fire. Here's the trainer standing in the background being all, he's like in charge. But what if? So this is why it's so important to do thumbnails, because you can start coming up with some really cool ideas. What if it was the lion that was the trainer? So I can do it realistically, or I can do it ridiculously, but I'm going to do it realistically. Here's my lion. He's going to be standing here. And I'm going to have him, I'll fix this up later. I just want to get the idea out. He's got the whip in his mouth just because. Okay, so here's my lion. And the man is jumping through the hoop of fire. Let's see, so human. Okay, that's idea number 4. Let's say I got to come up with one more, but it's good to do more than that. Okay, so I'll do the human sitting on a chair or squatting on a chair. Here's the human. And maybe the human's got his mouth open even. I'll have to figure that out. That's my idea. And here's the lion. Maybe sitting like that. I might do something different if I find a better reference. Okay, so there's my 5 ideas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not brilliant, but it's a start. So I take those 5 really rough sketches. You could turn them in, but I think that I would rather do ones that were a little bit more refined. My paper is really big, so I'm going to use half sheets. Now, I may want to go and find some good reference of lions and people to be able to make a nicer concept, but that's okay. I want to turn these in and see what everybody thinks. So I'm going to do this one first and try to draw a more refined version of a person leaping through. I'm thinking superhero, like, you know, he's leaping through the fiery ring. So block in your figure. I'm doing this all from ideas out of my head and not doing it from reference. But if you don't feel comfortable, you can go find a picture of a person jumping, which should be easy enough to do. I won't bore you with the internet search. I'll do it later. Here's my ring of fire. I may want expressions on the guy's face. Maybe he's got his hair blowing in the wind. You know, I want to give him as much character as I can. Maybe he's wearing a cat suit. He's jumping through the ring of fire. And the lion is going to be back here, sitting all majestic, as lions are often do. I like this idea. I think I might just do this for my project. And maybe he's got his whip here. Isn't that what lion tamers use, as a whip or something? So I could say, I would call it, and you don't have to handwrite it if your handwriting is kind of crappy. Lion training man, or a lion taming man. I think that's funny, and it has to be funny and interesting for me to actually want to do it. So just as an example, this is good enough to turn in as a concept, one of the 5 concepts. And then we need 4 more like this, or more. Do more. If you've got time, you can still keep doing them, even if you turn some in and you want to do some more. So I'll do the other one of the man sitting on the chair. I'm going to switch it up because that's the idea, but I want to do. I want to make it more conceptually interesting as a composition. So I'm going to turn it around again. Put the lion here. Sitting on the ground. And the man sitting on, maybe on one of those, you know, things like this. Maybe not there. Maybe give it some depth. So think of the composition a little. You may change it up. It's okay if you change it later. But I'm going to have him squatting. So a stick figure is perfectly fine, gets the idea across, but I want to see that you've got a good idea. So this is just another idea of the man taming, the man tamer. Okay, so that's my second gesture. That's my second concept sketch. This is what I'm looking for. Does that make sense? Give me some feedback. Good. Okay. Individually photographed. If you don't use references and you're doing it completely out of imagination, that's fine. Say so. If you're using any reference at all, if I had been looking at any pictures of lions, even if it wasn't exactly what I was using here, include them. Okay. I think it's much better to come up with your own ideas, make it really creative and exciting and something that you really want to do, and then that makes the whole project just so much more pleasant, because you're going to have to take that concept and then go and find good reference. So I'll have to find a good picture of a lion and a good picture of a human, or take my own pictures of humans. Eye level has to be the same. In other words, if I'm looking at the middle of the human, I need to be looking at the middle of the lion, not down at the lion and up at the human, or up at the human and down at the lion, or whatever. I want whole figures. I don't want too much overlap. A little overlap's okay, but not too much overlap, because then I'm going to need to find, we have to do the first part of the project next week is to refine your concept to be a complete composition, not final, polished, drawn out, but everything in its place with a clear idea of what you're going to do. Then the next step is going to be drawing these characters in bone form, just with skeletons. And you have to include the reference. You have to have a nicely rendered drawing of the human and the animal with the correct bones and good anatomy. The third drawing is the musculature. Same pose, just the musculature, like people with and animals with no skin on. The fourth, the last drawing, is going to be a nicely rendered, completed drawing with the background, with textures, with lighting, with everything you need. Portfolio piece. I want to see a portfolio piece come out of the end of this after 5 weeks. So you've refined your drawing all along, like the concept, and then developing the bones. So now you understand how the anatomy works underneath it. And then the muscles, you understand how the musculature works on top of the bones. And then bringing that together and making textures, fur, clothing, background, foreground. I want to see some depth of field in there. That all goes together. So now you have a sequence from concept, from idea to concept to bones to muscles to final. That's the project. And it goes as a PowerPoint and it plays for you. And you can play through it. And then you add nice formatting, bells and whistles, and some of your gesture drawings, because every week you're going to have to do a number of gesture drawings from long to short of animals and humans, preferably from life or from one of the timed websites. And they're going to have to be photographed and saved as small enough and put into multi-page PDF so that you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not in a long strip, not in, whatever. Any questions about that? I've got 3 people here from the class. So I want to hear from all 3 of the people from the class that what I'm describing is clear. Which assignment? The whole project? W1A3. You should turn in something by midnight tonight. Spend a couple of hours brainstorming, coming up with your little ideas. And if you want to include like your page of ideas, and then like you could have 50 ideas on here, and then include the more cleaned up versions, that's fine too. I'd rather see too much than too little. Yeah, I feel better about it too. I think this is really the way that I should start out every class, is with a complete going over the whole project so you understand the breadth and the scope of it. No half figures, no headshots, no crappy internet garbage. Don't just look through the internet. You can look through the internet for ideas, but take those ideas and do something unique with it.